The street ends at a wall. No gate, no pavement carrying on, nothing to look at. To reach the school sitting directly on the other side, a girl has to follow the perimeter for almost a kilometer, along a path with no shade and no shops. Inside the wall there is lawn, a pool and a camera watching her go by. Outside there is a fast road and no reason to stop. Both spaces were built at the same time by the same developer. The question holding this video together is not whether anyone has the right to protect their home. It is another. Who owns the street when every compound defends itself alone? Start with the mechanism, because a wall does far more than separate. A gated development privatizes functions that used to be urban: surveillance, the park, children's play, sometimes even waste collection and the road surface itself. In doing so, it withdraws those activities from shared space. The writer Jacobs argued decades ago that a street's real safety depends on the eyes watching it from windows and shop fronts. A blank perimeter removes exactly that. The consequence is paradoxical and entirely predictable: the better protected the inside, the emptier and less watched the outside becomes. The wall does not remove risk, it pushes it a few meters away and leaves it on the side of whoever cannot pay. That displacement starts a cycle that feeds itself. An empty street reads as dangerous, and that perception justifies the next wall. The sociologist Caldera studied the phenomenon in a large Brazilian metropolis and named it fortified enclaves. Her description is precise: privatized, enclosed, monitored spaces for living, consuming and working, which turn their backs on the street and use security as a marker of status. Fear stops being a reaction and becomes a commodity. It is sold along with the flat, the pool and the gym. Once bought, it must keep being justified, because nobody wants to believe they overpaid for an exaggerated fear. The resulting urban form can be measured. Blocks grow until any pedestrian scale disappears. Everyday journeys stretch out and force people into cars, even for short trips. Reviews of the literature on gated developments consistently report greater car dependency and reduced walkability. Mixture vanishes too. Local shops find no customers on a pavement without people, and without shops the pavement grows lonelier still. What is lost is not merely urban beauty. What is lost is the place where different people meet without having planned it, which is the simplest and most useful definition of public space. Now the evidence, which is less conclusive than either side tends to claim. A comparative study of gated and open high-income neighborhoods found that walled residents felt distinctly safer, but that there was no significant difference in actual crime rates. The same study found something more uncomfortable: in those compounds the sense of community was weaker than in equivalent open neighborhoods. Other research does find fewer residential burglaries inside the gates, while a South African study found more burglary in enclaves and their immediate surroundings. Recent reviews conclude that evidence on crime reduction is mixed, and warn about a false sense of security. The Latin American cases show how far the model can go. In Santiago de Chile, gated condominiums became the dominant form of housing production for middle and upper classes, first in the wealthy east and later in peripheral municipalities of working-class origin. In São Paulo and Buenos Aires the same format combined with motorways and enclosed shopping centers until an entire life could be lived without setting foot on an open street. The anthropologist Lowe, studying North American cases, found something revealing in her interviews. Inside the walls people described insecurity, status anxiety, and constant worry. Enclosure did not calm the fear, it kept it alive. Now the counterargument, and it is stronger than it looks. The researchers Sabatini and Brain argue that in Latin America walls did something unexpected: they let high-income families settle next to working-class neighborhoods instead of clustering in one wealthy sector. At metropolitan scale that shortened the physical distance between classes, even as it raised a barrier at street level. It must also be said that where violence is genuinely high, closing a compound is no whim but a reasonable response from families receiving too little public protection. Blaming the residents is convenient and rather unfair. They are answering a problem the state failed to solve. It can still be argued that this rational response produces a terrible collective outcome. Each individual decision is defensible, and the sum is a hostile city with absurd detours, no local commerce and the street demoted to a corridor between compounds. The editorial position is this: the problem is not the wall, but the surrender it represents. When safety is bought plot by plot, those who cannot pay end up living in the leftovers. And those leftovers are, quite literally, the city. The alternative is not banning gates, but making shared space desirable again: lit pavements, active ground floors, good public facilities, and policing that answers the same way in every district. Return to the opening question. Who owns the street when every compound defends itself alone? Nobody does, and that is precisely the problem. A space belonging to no one is not cared for, not watched, and ends up proving right the fear that emptied it. Walls work well for those inside and shift the cost onto those outside, though it almost never appears on anyone's bill. So when the next gated development goes up, the useful question is not how much safety it offers its residents. The useful question is how many meters of public pavement it leaves dead behind it, and who will have to walk them at night.